The following podcast is brought to you by Pro Wrestling Connect, Australia's newest choice for event management and brand development specialising in pro wrestling.
And now, the B Plus Wrestling Podcast. Watch global. Support local. It's the B Plus Wrestling Podcast.
The moves.
B plus.
Check it out! Here we go! You wanna mess with us?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen out there in the B plus land. It is me, it is I, the one they call Mr Myster1ous, and welcome to All the Rest, the wrestling podcast that takes the monumental task, the arduous task of covering all the wrestling news in this wacky, very bizarre world that we call professional wrestling, and I do it out of love. I do it out of love for you guys because you need to know all these stories. I need to get these stories out of my head and into your ears. That's pretty much how this whole thing works, and it's a blast. I like to think that you guys enjoy what we do, so we're going to keep doing it. We're going to be covering a lot of news stories today. We're going to be covering a bit of MLW news as always, bit of All Elite Wrestling news, bit of NWA when they start moving stuff along, bit of bizarre WWE stories because always you'll never not hear a bizarre WWE story in one of these editions because there's always some kind of bizarre content going on. And yeah, any other just random story that I feel like you guys should know, whether it be sweet, wholesome, terrifying, frightening, tormented, anything that comes out of wrestling that I feel like you guys should know, I keep you up to date on. And I'm going to start, of course, before that, with a bit of birthday news. Surprisingly quiet this week. Surprisingly quiet, which I don't like it. I'd like to highlight all the wrestlers from the week. But at the time I'm recording, wish a happy 40th birthday to Adam Rose. I had no idea that he was in his late 30s when he's in WWE. Like, he's no longer with the company. But man, 40 years old, I would have thought early 30s. Like, they hit his age very well. Probably could have gotten to know him better in WWE if he wasn't so much a jobber that they just didn't care about, but it is what it is. When this comes out, guys, for July 21st, wish a happy 29th birthday to Fabian Eichner, of course, of Imperium, and their whole shtick at the moment. The mat is sacred. The mat is definitely sacred. So let's get started with one of my favorite segments on this podcast, talking about Major League Wrestling. And with episode 66 main evented by the Dynasty taking on the Hart Foundation for the MLW Tag Team Championships in a ladder match. Now, this is just another storied classic addition to their storied rivalry. Things are heating up. I am very, very curious to see how this is going to end soon because it has to come to an end soon because dear Maxwell Jacob Friedman will soon be exclusive to All Elite Wrestling in couple months, and then I don't know what's going to happen. He's the backbone of Dynasty. I have no idea what's going to happen. It's going to be interesting in the next few weeks, the MLW, and with All Elite Wrestling, and yeah, anything where MJF is a part of, it'll be a very interesting time. We'll touch on him a little bit more later. So we opened up, after we had a recap of the show, we opened up with Ace Austin versing Airwolf. This was a rematch, of course. I believe Airwolf came out victorious in their first encounter, but Ace Austin, this is a matter of pride. He requested this match, and he wants to prove that it was just a fluke and prove that he is a superior athlete and everything else. Of course, we've got Rich Bikini and Jim Cornette adding their colorful commentary during this match. Airwolf came out wearing an actual wolf mask, so he looks like Airwolf comes out with usually the weird aardvark Arthur mask on that looks nothing like a wolf, and he actually came out with a wolf mask. I'm like, oh, he's finally doing something different. And then he took the mask off and to reveal his usual mask. Is like, I wanted him to have the wolf mask. Is that so much to ask? When you have someone, a luchador, with the literal name of wolf in their name, you kind of expect some animalistic tendencies. Call me crazy. But as for the match itself, this was as high-flying and innovative as MLW always deliver and always provide. Like, my favorite highlight was like Pele knee by Airwolf running into the turnbuckles, and flipping out to deliver a big blow. Like, of the two, so Airwolf is, like, they keep putting it over on commentary. He's only like 19 years old. He's an amazing athlete already, but you have Ace Austin, who's only just slightly older. I believe he's like 23, 22, right about there. And he's just more experienced. He's just more of a natural athlete, like a lot more physical as well. Like, he knows how to switch it up throughout the entire match. The maneuver I mentioned before, that kind of played into the finish. So Airwolf climbed the turnbuckles for some high flying offense, but Austin created a referee distraction, and I actually like this. So what Austin did, he threw a playing card into the referee's face while the referee turned around to toss his card out of the ring because it was such a dangerous object. He's used this card for paper cuts in a lot of his matches in MLW, and now it's a problem. Like, I better get this dangerous weapon outside of the wrestling ring. Like, now he realizes it might be a weapon. But nevertheless, I can get into a tangent about that later. So while the ref was distracted, Airwolf took flight, and Austin surprised him with a shot to the groin from his collapsible cane, like his magic wand, or whatever you want to call it. It's the first time we've seen him actually use his extra items that he brings to the ring. It's part of his entrance all the time, but he's actually using them to win a match. So, very interesting little quirk there. I don't know if he felt like he really needed to prove something, or he's just trying to maybe incorporate a little bit more into his arsenal. Whatever the case, so Austin used a running blockbuster to win. Very entertaining match. I loved it. A lot better than their first encounter, I will have to say that, because they are pushing Airwolf. I feel like they are far from over during this match. This gives Airwolf some wiggle room just to say, well, you can't beat me unless you use your little magic stick and everything else. Yeah, I'm excited. I am excited. MLW, really always the kickoffs, always a great high-flying contest. Same with Impact in a lot of ways. Like, just they always know how to really get the energy going and the adrenaline going for more high-flying and action-packed Major League action. The next segment we had was Mance Warner has got the golden ticket. So Selena De La Renta is in her office area, and Ricky Martinez is pleading for another chance at Low Ki after being knocked out. He did last longer than a lot of Low Ki's other opponents lately, and Selena gets a phone call. She thinks it's Jimmy Havoc, so she's like, somebody I like, please enlighten my evening. It's like, poor Ricky, he's just being like, he's being relegated to this lapdog. It's at what point does he break? What point is he just like, you know what, screw it? Right. But instead of Jimmy Havoc, he's apparently on the phone. Jimbo was busy, and Old Mash has got the call instead here, yeah? He's talking about light beers and lariats and knee pad up, knee pad down, and everything else. And Old Mash just stated that Jimmy was laying down in some of his blood, and he found a golden ticket next to him. So the actual golden Battle Riot golden ticket that gets LA Park a title shot whenever he wants. Apparently, Mance Warner has that in his possession, and he's going to take each one of her boys out one by one, take the gold ticket, drink some light beers, and do some thinking and drinking, and all that. And Selena sent Ricky. She's given him one job to get the ticket. Just this one job, Ricky Martinez. Let's see if you can do it. The next match is Ariel Dominguez versus the professional Low Ki. And of course, Low Ki's matches are so long and action-packed and everything else. Clearly, I need to go get a drink. And what, it's over? It's over. For those of you guys who don't know, who haven't been paying attention these past few weeks, Low Ki has been on a squash streak. Like, he has been on a knockout quest. Like, I think this is the fourth match he's had where he's defeated his opponent by knockout in like 10 seconds. I'm like 10, 15 seconds if I'm being generous. And Ariel Dominguez, like, bless him. Like, I thought at some point, because correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like he defeated Hammerstone or some, like, he put up maybe not Hammerstone. He won a match with a bigger wrestler than him. And then he's been back to being a jobber, like being the featherweight jobber. Like, he lost to Hammerstone. He lost to the new MLW World Champion in Jager Fatu. And yeah, Low Ki. So straight up, Low Ki just clobbered him in the knee to the mush, to the noggin, and he's out cold. This is I'm liking this. Like Loki, the spotlight isn't on him, but he's still keeping your attention, and it's just all about like when can he strike. And again, if they're going to reinforce this, I like this because the fact that MLW are reinforcing the weight classes now, you need to remind people that Loki is a freaking former world champion. Like, you can't just have him go down the card without making him without taking away some of his credibility. So what do? You keep him in the moment. You keep him in the running with things. He's knocking out falls left and right, but it's wedging him nicely into the middle of the card, and he can have some great matches with guys like Austin Aries. I would hope. Like, God, there's so many people we could have a great match with, and who knows? Like, if the middleweight doesn't help him, the open weight. Like, damn it, I am pushing for this. The open weight match, Loki versus Hammerstone. I need to see that. I don't know where it's going to happen, but I would love to see it personally. But yeah, as speaking of Hammerstone, so we had a little of a dynasty segment in the preparation for the main event. Hammerstone is just doing push-ups in his undies, soaking in the sun, wearing an openweight title backwards as a weightlifting belt, just cause. And he's saying, saying, let's get a tan, everybody. And Hammerstone is inquiring about the strategy. What is MJF and Holiday's strategy going to this ladder match? And Holiday said that they would just climb to the highest of heights. There is no strategy. There's one simple rule: climb a ladder. It's really that's a very valid strategy. But yeah, every time Holiday mentions heights, MJF kind of gets freaked out, and he kind of blurts out, "I'm not afraid of heights, man. I'm sorry, that was uncalled for." Like, we just I love this I love this dynamic to MJF. Just another reason that he's just such a great, despicable heel character, and the fact that he has this fault in him, it makes it more real, and it makes it even better. Like, obviously he's playing it up as well, but he doesn't have, if you really think about it, he doesn't have a big high flying arsenal, if at all. Like, he's always down on the ground. He's always squashing people's momentum before they get started. Like, he's always doing that. And yeah, I love how he's going to have Holiday get both the belts, but not because he's afraid of heights. Dear, no. It's because Holiday deserves all the glory. That's the reason. Not his fear of heights. Never that. MJF exits with Aria Blake for a bite to eat in a motel room and get some meat. And Hammerstone actually sees through all MJF's facade. It's just like, do you see this being a problem? But Holiday is just... I like Holiday in these promos. He's actually developed a real character. Like, he is a bit oblivious to things, but he has his own kind of character to him. And yeah, as much as it was MJF kind of spitting, like, you are the wild card of the dynasty, man. You are the backbone and everything else. And like, he's not wrong. It's just that, the intention was for him to just make it seem like, no, this is really why he has to get the belts. We had some more of Matt Warner tormenting Selena. Selena's like clanking her laptop keys when she receives a video call. Martinez is on the hunt for the golden ticket. He comes across a huge box similar to when Mansa popped out at the end of Selena's first show, the big present. Martinez went on the attack to whack the box with a crowbar. Mans Warner appeared from behind out of the dark. Martinez got ambushed by a couple of shots by Warner. A little while later, Selena and Conan, they had their segment where apparently she has this big secret. And of course, in Spanish, Selena told the decrepit old man to shut his stinky mouth and to stay home. And yep, they're still going. Like, the manager off is in full effect. The manager off, and Selena is once again gonna... Like, I'm surprised Conan is so chipper despite being shanked by Promociones. Like, they mention it, but like, he doesn't act like he's kind of upset that he got stabbed. Deep semantics, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, Ricky had one job, he failed. Mance Warner locked a fence to keep LA Park away, and he started beating up Hiho, LA Park's son, with a chain wrapped around his fist. Hiho was knocked out, and Papa Park, oh, he was livid. That you don't have to speak Spanish to know half the shit he was saying. And LA Park is going after Mance Warner. I cannot wait. Anything with LA Park is just gold in my eyes. Anything he does, it's incredible. But as for the main event of MLW, ladies and gentlemen, the Tag Team Championship ladder match. How was it? This was a great ladder match that MLW have put on, and there's a lot of reasons I'll get into. But yeah, but right from the get-go, MJF and Richard Holiday, they tried to run away, so Teddy Hart and Brian Pillman grabbed their tights and pull them up, give them wedgies, which is, yeah, haha, semantics high school. But yeah, the first big move was a powerbomb lung blower by Teddy Hart. I love his lung blowers, right? And I love the way that Holiday bounced off of Hart's knees and he took it like a freaking champion. But yeah, there's a lot of moments in here. You had the springboard moonsaults by Hart. He pulled out all the stops here. And you had the segment where MJF was so scared to climb the ladder, he tried to force Aria Blake to do it. There was miscommunication, and Aria Blake ended up doing a flying crossbody off the ladder to hit MJF. He's only halfway up the ladder, but it was still pretty impressive. It was amazing. Holiday suplexed Hart onto a ladder. MJF slapped Holiday when the tall man didn't listen to his instructions to just climb the ladder to just, yeah, MJF ordering people around to make up for his own shortcomings. Brilliant in-ring psychology here. Absolutely loved it. You had a DDT piledriver combo by Hart to both MJF and Holiday. At the same time, springboard corkscrew elbow drop by Hart. Twisting moonsault. I love Teddy Hart. I love Teddy Hart. The last move allowed Pillman to climb the ladder, but then Hammerstone came out to stop that. So Hammerstone set up a table on the floor, he's using a table in a ladder match. Well, that would cause a DQ. Oh, wait, there's no DQ. Of course you can use, I love, this is the thing I love, that you can actually use other weaponry in a ladder match. You don't have to just use the ladder. But WWE has kind of conditioned us, no, you're just only allowed to have ladders, or bad things will happen. What bad things? I don't know, bad things. But no, he just used a table, and there's no disqualification, so Hammerstone could easily help out. Right? But yeah, so he set up a table on the floor with the intention of suplexing Pillman off the apron. Davey Boy Smith made the save. Smith turned the tables around quite literally by power slamming Hammerstone into the table. Now, I love this. The table didn't break, right? So Davey Boy did a big knee-dropping headbutt. It wasn't, and the camera didn't focus on it either, right? You just saw Davey Boy go up and then a crash. It was gorgeous. I love that. I love how sturdy the tables are in MLW. But yeah, so the distractions were out of the way. Davey Boy and Hammerstone in the ring. Holiday and Pillman were climbing the ladder. Blake hopped on Pillman's back, so Pillman elbowed her off, but that allowed Holiday an opportunity to grab a steel chair and smash Pillman in the head. Holiday climbed to the highest of heights, like he said he would, and retrieved both tag team championships. The winners and the new MLW tag team champions, Maxwell Jacob Freeman, Richard Holiday, the Dynasty. The Dynasty have all the gold. Wow. This was so satisfying. You had the humor, you had the drama, you had some surprises, and you had some casual stalking and savagery from Mansa thinking and drinking. Yeah, I was very entertaining with this episode of MLW. They've got big things on the horizon. Where Hammerstone, I believe he's facing off against the coast. Oh, it's gonna bug me now. I'll get back to you guys on that one, but yeah, they've got a lot of plans for Hammerstone. I think it's Savio Vega. Savio Vega is his name. Yeah, the Caribbean champion. The guy's been in wrestling for 30 years. He's going to be facing off against Hammerstone for the Star Spangled Challenge. Yeah, this is going to be very, very good. I'm excited. They have MLW have a lot of faith in Hammerstone. And this is kind of proof positive. So, all in all, again, MLW powering on to their big Saturday night super fight pay per view. Their first one where you have to pay for it in November 2nd. Yeah, you don't need you don't need me to convince you if you don't already. Like, take my money, MLW. You have it already. Loved it. We'll go into some AEW news, guys. Episode 161 of Being the Elite is just backstage from Fight for the Fallen because that happened last weekend. If you want to hear a big rundown of that, you can listen to Greg Unchained and Wrestling Landscape have a nice little chat about that one. It was, yeah, we kind of blended that in with Extreme Rules, which was very entertaining. The Young Bucks are talking to Jerry Lynn, and he's just saying, like, oh, I thought you two were twins. Like, no, he's actually, like, Nick talking to Matt, just like, oh, no, he's actually older. You could say he's my older brother. Like, they keep doing that. It's okay to feel feelings, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't know already, it's okay to feel feelings. But Young Bucks, they came out of a big production creative meeting at the Jacksonville Stadium, and they're kind of toying with the idea, like maybe they'll have a show there one day. It can hold about over 60,000 people. I can see them. I totally see them doing it. Like the way they pull it off, like enough marketing and enough like momentum behind AEW, they might dare to dream and they might actually do this. Like, oh, I can't imagine. I can see him feeling. I can see that. I believe if like All In managed to fill over 10,000 seats, like the amount of buzz that AEW has, like it hasn't faded. It's only gotten bigger. I can see it getting bigger and bigger to the point where they can actually fill that stadium. Let me know if you agree, ladies and gentlemen. We had some backstage stuff with MJF. MJF was on fire in this episode, just like taunting the shit out of everyone. He's taunting Brad and Cutler for giving out some of his wife's gear. So for those who don't know, she makes the gear for the Young Bucks and for Cody. Like she makes the gear for the Elite essentially. But he's the errand boy for his wife. MJF is just like, yeah. Sammy Guevara's trying to be all nice, but yeah, and then he's just like, wait, geez, what a nerd. But he says it when Brandon Cutler's in earshot. So yeah, very two-faced man. We saw Marco stunned MJF again. Like, where's your mum? Like, oh, she's in my hotel room. The librarians are, haha, not on the same page. They yeah, you have Peter Avalon is not happy with the gimmick, but Lena Bates loves it. Like she actually became a certified librarian. She's gotten method with this. I like it. But yeah, there's dissension in the ranks of the librarians. We'll see what happens here. Like the story is going on. Like, will he get his way and no longer be a librarian? We'll see what happens here. Or will he be forced creatively to stick in this character that he hates? Maybe he'll go to Cody and explain like about a character that he hates, right? And that he wants to be free and like break away from the uniform that he's got on. Like maybe Cody can relate. I wonder why. I wonder why that brought up. I won't even touch on that. But, yeah, it's just covering everything that happened at Fight for the Fallen. SCU do a thing. You had the referee skit. Pretty much, Hangman Page actually did legitimately get cut up by Chris Jericho at Fight for the Fallen. You weren't too sure if it was like makeup or like a lot of it was legitimate. And yeah, a lot of it was legitimate. He literally got like banged up by them. You had at the end of the episode with Cody and Dustin and the Young Bucks just sharing some pizza, and you think that they're gonna be like everything was for the story. They are fine for now. They're all fine. And yeah, that was this episode of Being the Elites. We've got really the mainstay, the main big news coming out of this is not from the episode of Being the Elite. It's from Road to All Out episode 1, because man, we had a big revelation in that. So much like Being the Elite, they did a big rundown, like a tribute of Fight for the Fallen. Went through everything there. You'll notice that there is a familiar person in the control center, Tony Schiavone. Freaking Tony Schiavone. Oh, lovely to see him here. Like, he's one of the best analytical minds on commentary. This is why he was so great in MLW. I feel like he's going back there. I feel like he can do both. I reckon he's more than welcome. He has that, just had that voice. He has that big commanding like sportscaster voice that you just pay attention to, and more people are definitely going to. A little bit of a unsung hero highlight of this episode, Hangman freaking Page. He's just like, he's talking about Chris Jericho wanting a thank you, and he's like, well, thank you, Chris Jericho, for lighting a fire under my ass. And he openly rips his stitches open, right? For the promo, like, but he's doing that and he's bleeding while he's cutting the promo. Like, wrestlers own their bodies, ladies and gentlemen. They just own the pain. And he's saying, like, I open this stitch up every day to watch the blood drip down my face, to remind myself I don't want this scar to go away, because it reminds me that I need to just end you. And it's like, amazing, amazing, big promo. And it would have been the best part of this episode if we didn't have the sit down between good old JR and Shawn Spears. Man, this promo did more for Shawn Spears than the entire Perfect 10 gimmick in WWE. Like, I'm serious. Like, this whole, like, Jim Ross has always been a great sit down interviewer. He always gets the best scoops, and AEW know this. And they kind of revealed that Shawn Spears actually said, like, he's his closest friend, like, Cody was one of his closest friends, but the fact that Cody actually called him an old hand, which is the reason that he wanted Shawn to actually be a part of AEW. So he called him an old hand, and he thought he would be only good for nothing for helping train the next generation. And he didn't have faith in him to be a star now, like a star now with AEW. And it's more just like, oh, he's going to be a great mentor figure. Like, and Shawn Spears is like, screw that. You do not call me an old hand. And Jim Ross is like, oh, he probably didn't mean it like that. But just, yeah, he is hurting. He is absolutely hurting. And he's talking about how he trained him in OVW. Like, he was his mentor. And he taught him everything he knew. And, like, he's a Rhodes through and through. Like, you can't trust the Rhodes and everything else. And who is telling him all this advice? Who's giving him this knowledge? Because we heard these rumors that Shawn Spears would be getting a new manager soon. And just like, I'm very curious. Like, there's not very many good independent managers out there at the moment, because the last one was Stokely Hathaway, and he's now in NXT. But who would come and end the conversation and confirm that he is Shawn Spears' ace in his sleeve? Frickin' Tully Blanchard, father of Tessa Blanchard, Four Horsemen, the Brain Busters, right? NWA World Champion, like former NWA Tag Team Champion, Hall of Famer, Tully frickin' Blanchard is now in a multi-year deal. He's confirmed to be in a multi-show deal, not multi-year deal. There's a difference because he's getting up there. But he has agreed to be the mentor figure for Shawn Spears getting into this feud with Cody. And there's this photo going around where he's just got his hands on Shawn Spears, and Shawn Spears is just like got the Mr. Burns fingers, and just, if you do not get Vader and Emperor vibes from this, I do not know what to tell you. Like, it's just good. It's perfect. And part of me loves this so much, and part of me's just like, I miss Dusty, because imagine the interplay that would have happened with Tully in one corner and Dustin in the other. Like, I'm sure Dusty, but Dustin will probably fill in that void. Man, I am so excited. Pay attention to the road to All Out. We're going to keep having these big revelations. I cannot wait to see what they have in store. I'll quickly touch on MWA. There's not really much to say, honestly, because it was just watching a squash match between AEW's newest signee, who likes to call people... Yeah, he likes to call people dummies. Eli Drake. It was just a squash match, and shocker, he revealed to everyone that he wants to fight for the NWA 10 pounds of gold, like, which, yeah, I don't know. I expected this from the very beginning. I don't know. So Nick Ellis has Eli Drake to contend with down the line. He has one of the members of Villain Enterprise to contend with down the line. Lot of juggling plates. I look forward to see where they go from here for the NWA. I look forward to see where AW go from here and MLWs. But before I get into the other weird, wacky wrestling news from this week, let's cut to Greg with our sponsors.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey everyone, just want to take a second to tell you about one of our new sponsors, Outbreak Nutrition. Outbreak Nutrition are creating supplements for survival, sharper minds, quicker reflexes, all the energy you need to take your performance to the next level, whether that be on the field, in the gym, on the gaming field. That's right, they have specifically designed gaming supplements as well to help you focus on those late night sessions. They even sell coffee, you guys, at Outbreak Nutrition. You can get coffee pods, you can get coffee beans, you can get supplements for the bedroom as well if you want to enhance your performance there. These are performance enhancing supplements for every aspect of your life, specifically designed by gamers, for gamers, to stay fit and healthy in the gym, to stay sharp and focused on the game, and to dominate in all areas of life. So check out OUTBREAKNutrition.com, and for being a listener of our podcast, they will give you 10% off your order when you enter the code B+. That is BPLUS at checkout. So make sure, if you want to stay on top of your game, if you want to take your performance to the next level, OUTBREAKNutrition.com, enter the code B+ at checkout. Hey guys, just a reminder, if you want to hear all of these wonderful B+ podcast episodes completely ad-free, make sure you head over to Patreon or Podbean, where we are the featured podcast this week. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month up to $10 a month, where anything you want to help us with, it really helps out. It's going to help us grow the site. It's going to help us redesign some things, and everything that we get through this and through the advertising as well is all going straight back into the podcast so that we can get Aussie Graps out there for the rest of the world to hear about, for the rest of the world to see, so we can grow this mission of watch global, support local, and build indie wrestling. So if you want to be a part of that and get some really cool rewards like call-in shows, bonus episodes, ad-free like I mentioned, then head over to patreon.com/theb+ and subscribe today.
And we are back, guys. This is a big week for all the rest because there's a lot of news to condense here. I'm going to try my best. As I mentioned before, the adverts, Tully Blanchard is now officially a member of AEW. He is all elite for this storyline with Shawn Spears and Cody Rhodes. Loving it. Another one that is a big surprise is Rhino. He's joined Impact, you don't say. So one day after his contract with WWE expired, he's being advertised on Impact Wrestling. But how is that possible? Must he have signed with Impact Wrestling? It's almost like he was the masked man, but that would be crazy. In all seriousness, guys, yeah, WWE do not care. They're happy that Rhino is not being a part of AEW. And yeah, he wants to wrestle, former TNA champion. Let him have some fun. Like, if you see on the advert where he is being advertised, it's also got Scott Steiner as well. So, we'll see what happens. I think that will be at Unbreakable, the August 2nd. I'll touch more on that during Impact Zone tomorrow. Big name that's been re-signed to WWE is the monster among men, Braun Strowman. He has signed a 4-year deal confirmed on his social media. He's saying like he get ready for 4 more years of the best big man in the wrestling industry today, in the best corporation in the world, WWE. These are his words, not mine. And yeah, as much as you could not see Braun, as much as WWE have not been treating him that well right now, you can't see him going anywhere else. He's an attraction. He's a big boy. He's a big, like, athletic specimen. He's improved so much in his time with WWE so far. I'm very excited to see what 4 more years of him will look like, especially now that apparently Paul Heyman's kind of fond of the big guy. And maybe, dare I say, he could be lining up to be the next Universal Champion. If there's anyone who deserves to dethrone the beast. Please, Braun. Please, this needed to happen a couple of years ago. I feel like Paul Heyman could probably correct this mistake. Let's see what happens. Big return on the latest episode of Monday Night Raw. Yowie wowie, Bray Wyatt finally returned, and he returned as the Fiend, and it was a great way to bring him back. Like, I attacked Finn Balor after his match against Samoa Joe. He's celebrating. The lights start to go out, like, bit by bit. You hear some eerie music in the background, and then all of a sudden he's just behind him with his Fiend mask on. There's some maniacal laughter echoing through the WWE, through Raw, through entire center. Yeah, WWE, do not mess this up. My God, do not mess this up. There's been a couple of surprising names that have come back to their respective promotions. You have Alex Shelley. He's been announced to be facing the next contender for Matt Taven's Ring of Honor World Championship. Coming out of retirement, the former Motor City Machine Gun wants to prove to himself that he still has it. And he's been out of action for a good while now, I think a couple years. He was happily retired. And yeah, he just wants to see what he can do. So Matt Taven's probably going to win this one. Alex Shelley was more known as a tag team wrestler, more so than a singles guy. I mean, Chris Sabin did win the world title, but that's a bit different story, I feel. So yeah, it's great to see him back, even if, however, fleetingly. You have Will Ospreay. So for all our coverage from the G1, go listen to our coverage, Greg Unchained, covering that for you guys. But Will Ospreay had to kind of pull himself out of a couple of events because he actually suffered a little bit of a neck injury. He had to get himself observed by the New Japan staff after, I think, earlier this week. Like, he had to be pulled out just to assess himself. And yeah, he just needed to take some time off. So obviously that will impact on his points. It's a brutal shame, really. But it's worth it to keep the junior heavyweight champion healthy and strong. You had some people on the shelf this week. Not so much on the shelf, but now officially on the shelf, because Mickie James, she successfully underwent some knee surgery. The operation was a complete success. She will be back in action around about April 2020. That just sucks. I mean, I'm glad for her that she's on the road to recovery now. But man, like, she wasn't even a part of WWE like since she got drafted. Like, she wasn't even on live TV at any point, and she got injured on a house show, and it was just a mess. It's an absolute mess. But there's the biggest name that has been put on the shelf for a little while, anyways. MJF. He actually suffered an elbow injury at Fight for the Fallen. This is very, very interesting. So he was meant to be a part of another promotion as well. So he's still been doing a whole bunch of other shows, like not just MLW and AEW, but he's actually a champion, or he was a champion in another one where he was the Pure Prestige champion, I think it was called. And the fact that again, as I mentioned earlier in the stream, is that MJF is going to be exclusive to AEW very, very soon. And because of his injury and everything else, he kind of agreed with the promotion, just like, you know what, we just need to strip the title off you. And that's fair enough. That's fair enough. The Inspire Pro Pure Prestige champion, he was that champion for about nearly a year. He had it for quite a while. Sadly, he couldn't close out a full year with the belt, but yeah, he's now currently the new MLW World Tag Team Champion. We'll see what happens there, like how long that reign will last. But yeah, he just means he has to take it easy until All Out, which he'll probably be a part of. I'm excited. Like, obviously, we wish MJF a speedy recovery, even though we're all idiots for clearly investing our time in him when he doesn't respect us back. But at least he makes us reminds us that he's better than all of us. So there's that. As for people leaving, guys, there's a big name. So, as I mentioned, Bray Wyatt attacked Finn Balor earlier this week for Raw. And the reason is Balor kind of wants some time off. He kind of requested to have a couple of months off, which is weird considering that he had some time off with his Intercontinental title run, where he wasn't even featured, and then he lost to Shinsuke last week. Whatever. The point is, he took some time off. One of the main reasons we kind of found out is because he got engaged. Big congratulations to him. He got there's a presenter that it was been rumored for a while that he'd actually gotten ready to intend to be married with his partner. It's since been confirmed, so obviously big congratulations to him. And yeah, he probably wants to take some time off to plan for the wedding. I know what that's like. I'm currently planning stuff right now. It's a lot to process, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a lot to go through. But yeah, and when he comes back, who knows what WWE will have in store for him? Maybe. So he's going to have a match with Bray Wyatt at SummerSlam. That much we know. Whether the Fiend kills the Demon, man, a big supernatural clash before Finn Balor has some time off. And maybe when he comes back, who knows? Maybe he might join the club with AJ. We haven't seen that dynamic yet. Who knows? Anything can happen in the world of professional wrestling. That much I know. For those of you wondering, though, if anything can happen, though, one thing that probably won't happen is X-Pac returning to the wrestling ring. He actually announced Sean Waltman, for those of you who don't remember his old name. For those of you who don't know, he actually said on his podcast that he's officially done with wrestling at this point. He said that his match he had with Jushin Thunder Liger and everything else, that's pretty much it. And he said that the only thing he would really come back for is for a takeover show, like to do something. I don't even know what. He said like maybe a 6-man tag alongside Matt Riddle where he could be protected. Clearly he was kind of like, he's spitballing, but yeah, he pretty much saying what we already knew. I thought this anyway. He's a coach already in NXT. He's done. He's done. It is what it is. I mean, he's been great as a mentor these past couple years with NXT at the Performance Center. No one wants to really see him wrestle anymore. So yeah, I'm okay with it. But yeah, that's one of the weirdest stories that we've heard from this week. It's one of those ones that you kind of already knew it, but the fact is now that Sean Waltman's since confirmed it. So for those of you D-Generation X fans out there you go. Have a couple of AEW related stories, but really a lot of the dominated news stories this week is a lot about WWE. So I'll get to the AEW one. So AEW have partnered with LiveSource. This is a organization that helps the wrestlers sell off some of their wrestling gear that they've worn to people for the highest, sell to the highest bidder. And through LiveSource, they're actually helping to sell some tickets to All Out on there as well. It's another interactive way, great partnership that AEW have done with another company, like, of course, Culture City before them. Yeah, they're just doing all the right things in terms of various promotions, and it might be an extra source of revenue for the guys. I don't know how much the wrestlers get and then the company gets, but there you go. And kind of AEW related, but kind of not. StarCast 3 has a big headliner, and it's only the best in the world. And no, I'm not talking about Shane McMahon. The true best in the world, CM Punk, is returning to... But I was about to finish that sentence, but no. So, Chick Magnet Punk is going to be in Chicago, his hometown anyways, at the Sears Center there, which is being held in conjunction with AEW, not a part of it. It's just an extra thing. And he's just going to be there to sign some stuff and to meet the fans. That's all. That probably shares a few war stories about WWE, but that's kind of about it. Nothing else. No returns. No going in the ring. I'm not even going to entertain the notion. I'm just presenting the facts. If he does show up and surprises us all, great. If he doesn't, I won't be disappointed. This is the very last thing if Punk doesn't come back for this, then that's it. Like, people should just stop asking. And I've given up on that already. So, like, do not even go down that rabbit hole. Like, just say, like, it'll be good for the fans to see CM Punk during that event. I'm sure they'll have a lot of things to say to him. And yeah, all the best to Chick Magnet Punk, getting in touch with the fans and everything that he's missed in the past 5 years. He'll be surprised to hear some fans come up to him that WWE have a new network special that's come out. So this is in before SummerSlam. WWE have introduced a new network special, and it's called Smackville. Live from Nashville, Tennessee, the WWE Network have announced a new network special called Smackville. I forget Great Balls of Fire, forget Stomping Grounds. Smackville is where it's at, ladies and gentlemen. Just out of nowhere, WWE have just gone and just announced this weird thing. And the breakdown for the card, this explosive in-ring action will include a main event triple threat match for the WWE Championship in which Kofi Kingston will be challenged by Dolph Ziggler and Samoa Joe. In addition, we will see Shinsuke Nakamura go head-to-head with former title holder Finn Balor in a rematch from Extreme Rules. This evening will also feature a special musical performance by Elias. House show, rematches, no surprises except for a bizarre name. What? This is the thing. Like, content is content. Like, the more you produce, like, that's probably WWE's mindset. They are constantly they're constantly cranking out new things, and it's good that people are getting their money's worth for the network, but this is just such a visible thing. Like, it's a nothing show. Like, this is a glorified house show. Like, WWE have done this, like, if you didn't get the clue from Super Showdown, the Australian one and the Saudi Arabian one, glorified house shows just for the network, now just with a weird name. It sounds like someone was kind of locked in a room and like the working title was Smackville, and they tried to come up with a different name, and they're just like, let's just go with Smackville. It's just one of WWE's pastimes is thinking of just like bizarre names for pay-per-views or just weird things. Another of their favorite pastimes, ladies and gentlemen, is changing superstars' names, because boy, they're back at it again with the stars of NXT, right? One of their favorite pastime is renaming superstars, because several debuting NXT stars have received new names, which have been confirmed on the WWE Performance Center website. I'll go through the list. The first one just breaks my heart. So Malcolm Bivens, aka Stokely Hathaway, is now called Courtenay Moore. It's just why. Like, Brendan Williams is now called Dio Madden. Dan Mather is now called Dorian Mack. MJ Jenkins is now called Monique Jenkins, which is her real name, which is good. Nick Comoroto is now called Nick Ogorelli. Robert Strauss, Robbie E, for Impact lovers out everywhere, is now called Robert Stone. It's just such a bland name, Robert Stone. Rachel Evers is now called Rachel Ellering, which is her real name, which makes sense. I believe she's recovering from her hit and run quite nicely. And the 3.0 tag team of Scott Parker and Shane Matthews are now using their real names, Jeffrey Parker and Matthew Menard Lee. Like, I don't get. Some of these are okay. Some of these are okay name changes, and I don't see the point of them. I do not see the point, because if it's Vince McMahon who just does not like certain wrestlers' names, that's fine. But he does not have to change everybody's names, because he makes it sound like he hates everybody's names. Like, he wants every superstar to have a brand new name, completely owned by WWE, right? Like, not even the fact that whether he likes the name or not, just a whole new name owned by WWE. So, and that's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like that he hates that people hate the names. It's just that they want to monetize some new ones and try and make us all forget what these stars were like in the independent scene. And I don't like this. I do not know. Like, these guys made names for themselves with these other names. Like, you can change things like gradually. Like you can make you can make subtle changes, but like, I'm sorry, Stokely Hathaway to Courtney Moore, like, what are you thinking? I do not understand this in the slightest. It's just a weird, like, you wonder where's the love? Where's the love for like the indie scene that helped craft these superstars? And another thing you wonder where the love is for 205 Live, right? The neglected brand of WWE. I'll say it right now because 205 Live, like, not only in viewers, not only in viewership, but worryingly now, as a report now by the Wrestling Observer, backstage personnel. Because according to them, the gorilla position and the locker room are a ghost town while 205 Live is being filmed. So for those who don't know, SmackDown will finish and then they'll go right into 205 Live, right? And alarmingly, fewer people are staying backstage to watch the matches and produce the show. Most wrestlers and staff are going home once SmackDown finishes. This is awful. So, like, it means that people aren't even appreciating, like, backstage people aren't even appreciating the work that the roster of 205 Live are doing. If there are some great talent there, no one is telling, like, higher ups like Vince McMahon or Triple H or Paul Heyman or Eric Bischoff. No one's telling them jack shit, right? And it would explain as well the big disconnect between how stars act on 205 Live and how they act on the main roster, quote unquote, because you have Drake Maverick. Now, like, I love the antics that he has with R-Truth for the 24/7 title. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy it. It makes me chuckle. But the contrast is that he's this big comedic guy who's like trying to have the title so he can consummate his marriage with his wife. And then on 205 Live, he's just an actual level-headed manager. And then you have Mike Kanellis, who is he's having this heated rivalry at the moment with Drake Maverick, and he's being this savage killer. And on the main roster, he's being emasculated by his wife and by everyone else in the main roster. He's being jobbed out. Like, it's night and day. It's disgusting, and more people, like, maybe I just have a thing for neglected brands, like, because maybe that's why I love Impact. But more people need to watch 205 Live, guys. It's so good. It's so good. If you love NXT, it should be an easy thing for you guys to watch 205 Live because they only have an hour, much like WWE. Like, it's like sometimes they don't even bother changing the ropes to purple. Like, it's just lazy. It just shows you how, like, how lazy, like, that the company are, just trying to pump out all this content and not caring. Like, where is the love for all of this, you know? Like, where is the love for it all? But honestly, more people need to watch 205 Live, more people need to watch Impact, more people need to watch MLW. Pretty much everything I'm watching, you guys need to watch too, is what I'm saying, like, if that sounds vain enough for you all. And, like, they just maybe need to, like, take a step back and focus on other areas. So, like, you wonder how, like, SmackDown is so overproduced and how they have to control everything on Raw and SmackDown, which we'll touch on soon. Yeah, it's a big contrast, and they've taken baby steps with some characters. One of whom, Kevin Owens. Right, for those of you wondering why Kevin Owens promos have gotten good these past couple weeks, he's after that big pipe bomb, quote unquote, wasn't a pipe bomb so much, but for those of you wondering why it's kind of got good, the answer is pretty simple. Kevin Owens is unscripted. According to Sports Illustrated, much like Chris Jericho before him, it looks like he's getting to do his promos the old-fashioned way. WWE give him bullet points to work off of, but he has the creative freedom to craft his delivery however he wishes. Man, that sounds like more stars should probably do that, so they actually have these things called identities, you know, and you can actually root for them. Like, shock and horror, Kevin Owens has charisma without being forced to say something by a writer who has not even watched a wrestling product before. I know, crazy, right? It just shows you the lack of awareness that WWE has with a lot of superstars, or the fact that they are allowing Kevin Owens to do this, and he's knocking it out of the park. And it's like, maybe we should recognize that we are wrong, and WWE do not want to admit they're wrong. And now they're just like making it seem like, yeah, creatively weird, very weird decisions. And if you think it's going to get better under Eric Bischoff's regime, here's the thing. Eric Bischoff has started his new job as the executive director of SmackDown. He is back, but not how you think. Eric Bischoff officially started his new role, but according to Wrestling Observer, it looks like he's simply there to interface with various departments inside WWE and Fox. He's a scapegoat. He's no joke. He's pretty much the scapegoat between WWE, Vince McMahon, and Fox. He's the go-between, right? He's there for Vince to just, like, he does not want to deal with Fox. He's going to push Eric Bischoff in front of them. You handle that shit. It seems that's his only job right now. And, like, I don't know what I was expecting. Like, we had all these hopes, Bischoff and Paul Heyman, they're going to, change the whole thing creatively. Like, Paul Heyman seems to be the one in charge of creative, right? But Eric Bischoff is just an empty title, which is good and bad because, for those of you who wanted to see how SmackDown would be under Bischoff's regime, I'm kind of glad in a way because he had this chance to do stuff like this in TNA, and it ended horribly. But also, Bischoff has been out of wrestling for a while, so he's getting back into the swing of things, and yeah. He's watching the product. That's something. He's watching the product. He's doing his research. If you see his socials and stuff, he's getting orientated with the process. But yeah, he's really there to have a big meeting with Fox, whenever the need arises. And it did actually this week because SmackDown, again, the Wrestling Observer said there was a big Fox meeting held just the other day to discuss the future of SmackDown, and we got a lot of big bullet points to discuss with you guys. So, SmackDown will be on Fox 51 weeks out of the year. During the World Series, it will be moved to FS1, you would imagine so, which makes sense. There'll be a 1-hour launch episode on Fox the week before to introduce the roster to the Fox audience, which makes sense. There are negotiations to get NXT on FS1 as well to go against Wednesday Night Dynamite. No. It sounds good in theory. It does sound good in theory, but if this happens, WWE are going to blame NXT if the ratings aren't good, and it's going to be this isn't accessible for fans to watch NXT on Fox. It means it'll come out later on the network. It's going to be harder for international viewers to watch, in Australia. This is bad. No, WWE, yes, they should have, yes, I would love the idea of, more time devoted to NXT, maybe a 2-hour show or something like that, give it more time to do everything, right? But, man, don't, you can have the tapings against Dynamite. You don't have to have it be this big clash, because, granted, it sounds good that because NXT is the golden brand, in more ways than one, of WWE right now, and going up against the golden brand of AEW, but it would not work. It would not look good for anybody if that happened. Personally, I don't think. So far, there's only a WWE talk show that will air on FS1. Fox wants WWE promoted as this is the quote that I love. Fox wants WWE promoted as a sport and not sports entertainment. I love hearing that. I love hearing that so much. And also, they want their big 20th anniversary of SmackDown to be the debut episode on October 4th with some big surprises in the store. So granted, this pretty much translates to bring as much of the old guard as you want, bring as much of the old superstars to make it seem like this is a big deal. Have so much surprise in the store for us. Yeah. That's pretty much that's what this translates to, because you have next week the Raw reunion in effort to boost ratings. WWE is holding their biggest Raw reunion in company history in Tampa, Florida. The names coming out of this, man, like there'll be probably more by the time this comes out. But you have like big names like Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Booker T, like Mark Henry, Eric Bischoff, Ted DiBiase, Rikishi. Like, think of someone, they're probably here. Like, you had some of the big female names like Alundra Blaze, Candice Michelle, Melina are coming back. And I feel bad for the actual young star. Like, this is just taking up TV time. It's just taking up TV time. It's so stupid. Like, I don't know how, and especially the way they're crafted. Like, they might just have all these guys in like one room and that's it. I don't know how they're going to do it. And it's glaringly obvious why they're doing this Raw reunion. It's just to try and boost ratings and to try and have surprises in store for us when they don't know how to craft it with the roster they have. It's a real shame. It is a real shame that it's so transparent what they're doing. But one of the big surprises they want to have in store, so you'll have that. I believe Shawn Michaels is going to be on commentary for SmackDown the day after. Yeah, so they want that very similar thing to happen for the big SmackDown debut on Fox. One of the big names, of course, we mentioned the past couple of weeks is The Rock. And for those of you wondering, The Rock did come back to WWE's Performance Center this week. We're not exactly sure why, but Sami Zayn actually ran into him at the Performance Center. He was having his shoulders looked at, and he got a chance to thank him for his support of his charity during the whole Super Showdown debacle. But yeah, it just shows that The Rock is still in talks with WWE right now. He might just be testing out the gym equipment, or he might be, dare I say, preparing a return for SmackDown for their big debut October 4th. I can see it happening. Like, if it has to be this big surprise thing, I hope it's that and not Trump. I definitely hope it's that and not Trump, because I do not want that kind of news story to cover on all the rest. I would much rather talk about the great one than the President of the United States. But we will not dive down into that rabbit hole either. I have a couple of other stories, guys, before I finish. So we don't know what The Rock has in store, and we don't know what the state of WWE is right now, right? But WWE, for those of you wondering, are hiring. They're actually hiring a talent brand management vice president and director, I think it was. So they've announced a whole new division. This is very interesting, right? So I'm going to try and cut this down for time. I'm going to try and keep this condensed as much as I can. But WWE recently established a new management department to help develop the individual brands of their superstars, which is great. It sounds great in theory. So they want a vice president to run the department and a director to help out. They will be reporting to WWE's chief brand officer, Stephanie McMahon. Both of these jobs are in Stamford, Connecticut. So sorry, guys, in Australia or everywhere else you're applying, you need to move to America if you really want a chance of doing this. The job listing is, we actually put the link up on our website, so you guys should have a look as well. Very interesting. And I'll talk to you through. So the advertisement is talent brand management is a division of WWE that has 360-degree oversight of superstars. So this is their way of saying WWE Universe in the job description. And the key responsibilities here are to work across the organization. I'm trying to go through all the bullet points here, but really the main thing here is WWE want to make sure that their stars are acting normal on social media, right? To make sure that they oversee that nothing is going against their characters, to make sure that their superstars are represented in the marketplace correctly, right? Partner with, so they're going to be working very closely with the superstars and reporting back to the McMahons, pretty much, and encourage the best practices and procedures to ensure appropriate decision-making protocols are followed. So essentially what this is, like, for those of you to cut through all the jargon, This is WWE trying to control more of their independent contractors, quote unquote, than they already have by maybe taking control of their social media accounts and making sure that they don't do anything idiotic in terms of their feuds or in their Twitter wars or anything else, and making sure that it's befitting of a WWE representative in their ranks. You hear stories of like they're actually asking for the stars' passwords, and God, if this kind of picks up steam, they're probably going to put that into the new contracts. If truth be told, but and also I feel like this is partly as well because wrestlers, they also have their other side ventures online that are not a part of WWE, and like they'll advertise like different merchandise online on other websites. And I feel like this is kind of a way to try and maybe get a little bit of money from that too, trying to get an extra cut and leverage these guys for WWE to get a little bit more of that pie, even though it's got nothing to do with them as wrestlers. And it's just like, how are they doing this? How are they? It baffles my mind. But for those of you who actually might think that this job is right for you, look it up on the WWE websites. You'll find the advertisement somewhere. If you message me on the socials, I will send you the link. But yeah, it's very blatantly obvious what they're doing. I don't like it. I do not like it at all. But I will end on some bizarre news and some amusing news to get you through the day, ladies and gentlemen. So at the moment, at San Diego Comic-Con is happening right now, and R-Truth and Drake Maverick and a whole bunch of other WWE superstars are out there trying to defend the 24/7 championship. Now, at the time of recording, there has been no title changes, but this could very well change when this comes out to you guys. So keep that in mind. So, Drake Maverick is going around in a banana getup, he's handing out flyers to try and find R-Truth. Like, the Hurricane was there, tried to pin R-Truth, didn't happen. What's up with that? I would have loved to have seen the Hurricane as 24/7 champion, just cause. But WWE, they actually have a panel there at the moment. They're going to have, I believe, they booked a room with Mattel. It's hosted by Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder, and it hosts a lineup like Rey Mysterio, Kofi Kingston, and Becky Lynch. Like, and this is a very smart strategy because, like, Drake Maverick, so he's had his wedding ruined, he's had his honeymoon ruined, his wife won't consummate the marriage until he wins the 24/7 title, apparently. But yeah, and now they're going to be at Comic-Con doing all this stuff, free publicity, and it won't even have to be necessarily on an episode of Raw and SmackDown. They're probably going to show all of this on one of the episodes later on in the week afterwards. But just imagine just being at a convention and watching a bunch of wrestlers go after this 24/7 title. Like you have, if depending on what conventions you go to, there is usually some kind of wrestling on as well. And man, like, I would love to see that kind of random antics going around. Here in Australia, that would just be a hilarious little thing. But just, yeah, for those of you who have a chance to go to San Diego Comic-Con, watch out for a stray R-Truth and a Drake Maverick in a banana suit. And with that visual, ladies and gentlemen, I bid you adieu. So for those of you who want to talk to me on all the socials about this week and all the rest, I'm at Mr Myster1ous, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Grapple. Hit me up, guys. We'll have a good old chat. If you want to follow us here collectively at the B+, because we're a great bunch, if I do say so myself, we are at the B+ Wrestle on Twitter because wrestling wouldn't fit, and the B+ Wrestling everywhere else. Remember, our Patreon is here. Any amount you can donate would be greatly appreciated, so we can keep giving you guys what you want, when you want, showcasing the very best of Australian wrestling, and keeping you up to date on all the wrestling news from around the world. Like, share, subscribe, hit that 5-star review. I've been Mr Myster1ous for all the rest, and I'll see you later.